Okay, class. So, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning, everyone. Can you listen to my voice?
Waalaikumsalam. Good morning,
Good morning,
sir.
sir.
All right. So, welcome back to UHL2452 English for Vocational Purposes. So, before we start with our lesson today, okay, today is going to be very important because we are going to discuss few important things, okay, especially regarding your assessment 2A and assessment 2B. Okay, assessment 2A will be reading SOP and assessment 2B will be listening SOP. Okay, so we are going to discuss about your assessment, and at the same time today we are going to discuss also about your activities that I asked you to do last week. Hopefully you have completed, okay? And we are going to also look at the listening exercises that we are going to do, okay? Especially for preparation in terms of having your assessment to be. Okay, before we start, all right, I'm going to go through the attendance for today. So as usual, when I call upon your name, please reply by saying yes. Okay, right. So Muhammad Ridwan bin Latif,
Yes, sir.
all right, Nurul Jannah binti Usman,
Yes, sir.
okay, Nick Muhammad Akil,
Yes, sir.
all right, Muhammad Syahir Imran,
Yes, sir.
all right, Muhammad Afif bin Ahmad Tamizi,
Yes, sir.
okay, Muhammad Faidil Mubarak,
Yes, sir.
all right, Muhammad Arif bin Muhammad Masrudin,
Yes, sir.
okay, Syed Hazim Ifwat,
Yes, sir.
right, Israk Aiman Syafiq,
Yes, sir.
okay, Nur Syahida binti Nur Syaharuddin, Nur Syahida, okay, Nur Syahida is not here today, right, Muhammad Ilyas Irfan,
Yes, sir.
okay, Muhammad Farid Azmirul, Muhammad Farid Azmirul, okay, never mind, Muhammad Afiq Nakiuddin,
Yes, sir.
okay, Muhammad Ikmal Tasnim, Muhammad Ikmal Tasnim, are you here? Ikmal Tasnim is not here as well. Muhammad Hafizuddin bin Zaidi.
Yes, sir.
Alright, okay. Nora Natasha.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Muhammad Fahmi bin Muhammad Jamil.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Nurul Iza.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sheikh Muhammad Fikri. Sheikh Muhammad Fikri, are you here? Not here as well.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Sheikh Muhammad Fikri, you are here, right? Okay. Right. Zahrul Danish.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Muhammad Amiruddin. Muhammad Amiruddin bin Muhammad Zamri, are you here? Alright, never mind. Muhammad Aiman bin Samsul Arifin.
Yes, sir.
Muhammad. Okay, alright. Okay. So I'm going to go through the attendance again. Number 10, No Shahida, are you here? Right, never mind. Okay, Muhammad Farid Azmirul. Okay, Muhammad Ikmal Tasnim. Right, never mind. Okay, I'm going to call upon your name again once we reach towards the end of the session. Okay, right. So I'm going to share my screen. No Shahida, you have just joined. Am I correct? No Shahida, are you there? Couldn't listen to your voice. Oh, okay, all right, No Shahida. So she has replied. Okay, thank you for joining our class today. So I'm going to cross your name, meaning that you attended the class. Okay, all right. So I'm going to share my screen with all of you now. Okay, whereby we are going to have a look at the weekly planner. Okay, and what you are supposed to learn for today. Okay, all right, as you can see now, we are in week 8, still in the chapter or the topic on process and procedure. Okay, still on the topic on process and procedure. Before that, last week we have entered a new topic, okay, which is on process and procedure. And last meeting, I have recorded the video on introduction to SOP. I hope that you have watched the video, okay, whereby in the video, I have talked about the definition of standard operating procedure, okay, especially since that it is not something new to all of us because of COVID-19 pandemic in 2019. So we listened to the word SOP many times, okay? All right, and then I have also explained about types of SOP. There are two types of SOP that I've mentioned to you, administrative SOP and technical SOP. And under technical SOP, which we are focusing at for UHL 2452 English for vocational purposes, okay, there are three types under technical SOP. Number one is graphic SOP. Number two is flowchart SOP. Number three is hierarchical SOP. Okay, so I have also discusses about it. Okay, and then we have also looked at the format of technical SOP, whereby in the recorded session, okay, where I have shared it with you last week, I have also showcased the template that we are going to use for UHL 2452 and also for the assessment that you are going to have next week. Okay, so if you have not watched the video again, please watch it again. All right, please watch it. And then if you think that you miss out many important points or you need to watch it again, so just go back to the link given and then please watch the video. Okay, right. So the format of the technical SOP, the one that we are going to use for this course and also for the assessment, it is not fixed. Okay, as I have mentioned in the video, it depends on the company that you are going to work with later. So different company will have different type of SOP, okay, I mean the template, but the contents remain the same. So what we are teaching you for UHL 2452, okay, even though the template of the SOP will be different once you're going to start working later, okay, but the contents are still the same. And basically about the contents and how you are supposed to arrange the information for the SOP will remain the same. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, and then I have also shared with you about graphic SOP. How does it look like? Okay, and then flowchart SOP and hierarchical SOP. So since that I have given you the resources about graphic SOP, flowchart SOP, and hierarchical SOP last week, and I believe that you have done your own reading regarding this. So today, for week 8, we are not going to discuss about the three types of technical SOP anymore, but we are going to focus mainly on graphic SOP because for your information, for assessment 2A, which will be conducted next week, all right? So it is going to be about graphic SOP. All right. So one of the activities that I asked you to do in Kalam last week, okay, it is on graphic SOP. The remaining two, okay, though that it is stated that you need to do it in flowchart and such, okay, you can also try to convert it to graphic SOP, right? So this week, we are going to, I have asked you in the first meeting, the 1 hour asynchronous meeting on Tuesday, right, to go through the listening exercises, CEFR listening exercises in Kalam. Okay, I'm going to show the Kalam page now. Yes.
Doctor.
Yeah.
Farid want to join Google person. He couldn't join yet.
Farid Azmirul.
Yes.
Okay, I have approved. Okay, I have approved him to join. Okay. Right, so now we are looking at Kalam. Thank you for the information. Okay. Right, so week 7 under module and process, module 2, process and procedure. Okay. So we have all of the resources on graphic SOP, flowchart SOP, and hierarchical SOP over here. Okay, and then I hope that you have done your own reading. Okay, so especially on the examples given here. All right, and then I have asked you to do this information transfer activity, lactating cow, history of underground utility tunnels, and past alarm. Okay, so all
Dokter,
these things.
Assalamualaikum.
Yeah, Waalaikumsalam.
Boleh masukkan saya ke dokter?
You are
Saya
already in.
Farid.
Farid, you are already in.
Saya belum masuk.
You are already in. Farid,
Saya guna kawan saya punya. Belum masuk saya.
I have approved you. Farid,
Ya.
I have approved you. So you can see your name.
Oh, okey.
Uh-huh. Alright, I have approved you to join the class, okay? Can you try again? If you are not here, I mean, I have all of the people here, 22. Okay, right. Okay, so let's go back to the things that we have discussed, okay? All right, so I have asked you to do this activity. Have you done it, class? Yes or no? Class, have you done that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, good. So I hope you have done it, okay? Let's say if you couldn't complete it, okay, no worries. But today we are going to discuss on how you are supposed to do it, especially on the first one over here, lactating cow information transfer activity, because this one is basically on graphic operating procedure, and I'm going to show to you how you are going to work, okay, for the assessment, all right? So since that you have gotten your partner, okay, for the assessment, so there are 11 pairs altogether, because for assessment 2A, it is going to be a pair work, and assessment 2B, it is going to be individual work. Right, so don't worry about that. Okay, so we're going to look about it in detail after this. Okay, so in week 8, right, in the first meeting, I have asked you to do CEFR listening activities here. So I hope that you have completed it. Okay, and then we are going to do the rest of the listening activities over here in our meeting next week. Okay, on Tuesday next week. So it is going to be an online class, still online class for Tuesday. Okay, asynchronous, and not asynchronous, it is going to be synchronous. So I'm going to play the recording and we are going to have a look at the questions and then you're going to try to answer it. Okay, right. So we are going to do it next week for the rest of the listening activities. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about this information transfer activity. All right, it is going to be similar like what you are going to do for assessment 2A reading SOP. Okay, so if you have clicked it, okay, and then downloaded it, then this is going to be the one that you had. Okay, all right. So how to feed lactating cows, okay, and you have the text here. It is divided into 3 main paragraphs. Okay, right? And then if you scroll down a bit, you are going to look at the template. Okay, so this is the template, which consists of all of the important things that you need to fill in or taken from the text itself. Okay, reference number, the date, the page number, okay, title, department or unit, purpose, and the rest of information up until who has prepared the SOP, who will be reviewing the SOP, and who will be approving the SOP. Okay, all right. So this is the template. And now we are going to look at the answer of it. Okay, right. So let's go through it together now. Okay, so the reference number here, SOP 005/15. So where do we get the information from? So do not forget, okay, for assessment 2A, you and your partner will be given different tags. Okay, basically it is actually, okay, not different tags. All of you are going to be given sort of like similar tags, but you and your partner will be designated to different parts of the text. So let's say the text is going to be like several pages, okay, very long kind of text. And then maybe you and your partner, partner number one, for example, okay, pair number one, right? You're going to look at only from page 1 to page number 2, for example. Okay, the same goes for pair number 2, number 3, and so on. All right, you are going to have a look at what you're going to do, or I'm going to give you the details, okay, the briefing, once we have completed our assessment to be later on. Okay, so I will tell you about the assessment in detail after this, so that you will know how is it going to be. Okay, so you have to do the reading, you and your partner, you have to do your reading regarding the text, read or go through it carefully, and then try to transfer all of the information as possible, okay, to the template given. The template will be the same as the one that you looked at, okay? So where do we get the information from regarding the reference number over here? So you look at the last paragraph over here. Yes, okay, correct. You look at the last paragraph. Okay, let's go through it together. You are required to complete the SOP. So you are the person who will be preparing the SOP. And once your manager approves, okay, so your manager will be approving it. All right, who is your manager? Okay, the information is given before this, okay. So he will send the document to Mr. Bhaskaran Raj, your deputy director, for endorsement. So over here, we have several information that you can put in the template. Number one, you are the one who will be doing the SOP. So prepared by, it is your name. Okay, all right. And then there is a person who will be reviewing your SOP, and he is your manager. Who is the name? Okay, what is the name? It is given before this, okay? And then he will send the SOP to Mr. Bhaskaran Raj, the Deputy Director for endorsement. So who will be approving the SOP will be Mr. Bhaskaran Raj, the Deputy Director. Okay? And then the deadline is on 1st December 2015. So this is going to be the date that you need to put in the template. Okay? And the reference number for this document is SOP 005/15. Okay? So it is clearly stated there, it is clearly given there. The SOP reference number is SOP 005/15. Okay? Alright, class? So it means that how many pages of SOP that you are going to have for this activity, the reference number should remain the same. SOP 005/15. Okay, the same goes for the date of the SOP. It should be 1st December 2015. So we go back to the answers over here. All right. So the reference number given is SOP 005/15. Okay. All right. That is the reference number. The date 1st December 2015. Page number 1 of 3. Okay, so when you look at this information, you know by now, okay, that there are 3 pages of altogether for this SOP. Okay, and again, if you watch the video that I have shared with you last week, okay, the recorded lecture, all right, so the number of pages depend, okay, on the steps or procedures that you are going to have for the SOP. So if it is a longer procedure, then you will have several more pages. So it can be up to 7 pages, okay, maybe 5 to 7 pages. So it depends on the procedures, okay? All right, so this is page number 1. And why do we know that this, okay, how do we know that this is page number 1? Because of this number, 1 of 3. Okay, so if we go to the second page over here, it is going to be 2 of 3. All right, and this is going to be 3 of 3, for example. All right, so this is just a template, but when it comes to the real assessment, okay, you have to number each of the pages. So meaning that, okay, if you go to the second page, you should put this box, okay, All right, and then you need to change the page number to 2 of 3. Okay, to 2 of 3. So just to let you know again, this happened several times, okay, in the previous semesters. All right, especially it happened among your seniors. Okay, they forgot to. Farid, you are still trying to join in? Yeah. Have you joined the session, Farid?
Sir, no, sir.
Okay, can you try now?
Um, I try, I try.
Okay, try now so that because I'm on the same page and I can admit you straight away. It doesn't appear on the screen as you can see. All right, but never mind, Farid. Okay, because I already know that you are here. Okay, that you are already here. So I'm going to take the attendance and don't worry about that. Okay, Farid? All right, even though that you are joining in using your friend's account, but you are here. Okay, so you don't have to worry.
Okay, sir.
Right? So just to make sure, okay, when you are doing this assessment, okay, next week, so double check on the page number because it happened many times with your seniors, okay, they forgot to edit the page number. So when you go to the second page, it is supposed to be 2 of 3. And if you go to the final page, it is supposed to be 3 of 3. So that is how you are supposed to arrange the information. So please, please, and please, okay, I'm telling you, all right, please, what do you call it, edit or please double check on your page number and also the contents, okay, before you submit it to me. Okay, this is for assessment 2A. Okay, all right. So please double check on that thing. Okay, next, the title of the SOP is Standard Operating Procedures for Feeding Lactating Cows. Okay, Standard Operating Procedures for Feeding Lactating Cows. So where do we get the information from? You scroll back to the text, look at the title of the text, How to Feed Lactating Cows. So you know that this text is about how to feed lactating cows, okay? And since that this is going to be very, well, not very, it is compulsory, this particular line, okay, the one that I am highlighting over here, Standard Operating Procedures 4, okay, you need to have that in the title. So before you put feeding lactating cows, for example here, you need to have this particular line, Standard Operating Procedures 4. Okay, so what is going to be the title? So you need to have this line first, Standard Operating Procedures for Feeding Lactating Cows. So where do we get the information from? From the title of the text itself. Okay, right. So the department or unit here, this SOP has been written for the Research and Development Department. So similar like the title, whereby this line is compulsory, you need to have this line. Okay, it is a must, right? So the same goes over here. This SOP has been written for. Okay, it's also compulsory. So when you are writing for the department or unit, you need to have this line first. This SOP has been written for. Okay, and in this context, where do we get the information from? Let's go back to the text. The first line over here. You are the senior assistant in the research and development department. Okay, so you need to prepare the SOP because in the last paragraph it is stated like that, and the same goes in the second line over here. Okay, your manager, Mr. Chong Kong Meng, requires you to prepare a SOP on how to feed the lactating cows. So you are required to prepare the SOP, and your job title or your designation is the senior assistant, and you are working in the research and development department. So therefore, you know that for the department or unit, this SOP has been intended for the use of research and development department. Okay, all right. And then you also know by now, Mr. Chong Kong Meng is your manager. Okay, it is stated here, your manager. So he will be the person reviewing the SOP, not approving. Okay, you are going to prepare it. Mr. Chong Kong Meng is going to be the person who will be reviewing the SOP, and Mr. Bhaskaran Raj will be the person who will be approving the SOP. Okay, right. That is about the department or unit. Okay, so for the purpose here, remember that you need to have the aim, why you need to have the SOP. Okay, so the purpose of this SOP is to ensure that all general workers and part-timers are well equipped with the knowledge of feeding lactating cows and have the ability to carry out the job efficiently. So the purpose is to make sure that all general workers and part-timers are well equipped with the knowledge of feeding lactating cows and have the ability to carry out the job efficiently. So where do we get this information from? We go back to the text. Okay, and then the second line in the first paragraph over here. Okay, the one that I am highlighting there. Right. Okay, right. And then basically there are two important information in the highlighted lines there. Number one is the purpose. Number two is the information on who can perform the SOP. Okay, as it is stated here, okay, the one highlighted is the purpose. It is meant for general workers and part-timers. Okay, right. So if we scroll down to the template over here again, so this is the purpose. All right. Okay. If you're asking me, sir, do we need to just copy and paste it? Yes. You can just copy and paste the information from the text. Okay, for assessment 2A. All right. Okay, and then who can perform this SOP? General workers and part-timers. So as it is stated there. Okay. Then we move on to the equipment or tools needed. Okay, for the procedure. As you can see over here, the answers are for PPE, gloves, working coats, boots. For the tools, TMR mixer, tractor, feeder notebook, bins. Okay, notice that the word bins is in plural form. Okay, because we have more than one bin. Okay, and then research material,
Sir,
research.
how about scope, sir?
Okay, all right. So we'll see in the text. Okay, we'll see in the text. Right? Okay. All right. So let's have a look at the last line in the first paragraph first. Okay, because it is stated about your PPE. Okay. So please include the safety personal protective equipment, gloves, working coats, and boots, and write down the tools in the SOP. So you know by now, the PPE will be gloves, working coats, and boots. Okay, it is clearly stated there. Right. Okay, then we move on to the second paragraph over here. Okay, feeding the lactating cows requires 4 steps. So you know by now, there are going to be 4 steps involved in feeding the lactating cows. Okay, step number 1, preparing feed bunk. Step number 2, loading mixer. Step number 3, mixing feed. Step number 4, distributing feed. So there are 4 steps altogether. Okay. All right. We'll take note about that because this is going to be for the graphic procedures afterwards. Okay. So to prepare feed bunk, feed refusals are swept to the end of the feed bunk. Okay. So you need to sweep it. Okay. You need to sweep the feed refusals. Then they are scooped into the TMR mixer. Okay. All right. So if you ask me why the scoop is not there, maybe it is not the main tools that you need for the procedure. Okay. But if you put it, right, we can go, I mean, like for the answer scheme for assessment 2A, okay, we will go through it again, the teaching team, all right, and look at all of the possible tools that you can use. So if you put scope, it doesn't mean that it is wrong. Okay, it can still be accepted. But we are looking at the main tools that you need to perform the task. Okay, and if you notice over here, all right, the word swept, so meaning that you need to sweep the feed refusals. Even the broom, it is not stated there. Okay, the broom is not stated there. All right, okay. So we have the word TMR mixer here. Okay, so that is going to be tool number 1. All right. So in the feeder notebook, the weight is recorded because it is important for you to record the process. Okay, so you need to have the feeder notebook. So you have the second tool. At the steer pan, food refusals, okay, are distributed in bunk. Next, load the mixer. Okay, so we know here the mixer is not an ordinary mixer, it is TMR mixer. Okay, so to do this, the amount of ingredients to mix stated in the feeder notebook is checked. Protein concentrate from bin number 1, is added and IBS is recorded in the feeder notebook. After that, ground corn from bin number 2 is added and followed by an IBS record in the feeder notebook again. Then from bunker number 1 is actually referring to bin 1 similarly, okay? Corn silage is added and IBS is recorded in the feeder notebook 2. Lastly, from bunker number 2, haylage is added, okay? Bunker number 2 is similar to bin number 2. And then, once again, IBS is recorded in feeder notebook. For mixing feed, the sub-steps are as follows, okay? For exactly 5 minutes, the feed is mixed. While the mixer is running, do not move the tractor. Okay, suddenly we have the word tractor here. Okay, right. So just take note on it, okay? Lastly, the feeder notebook, the total amount of feed is recorded. In distributing feed, which is the final step, feed is distributed evenly along the entire length of the feed bunk. Again, in feeder notebook, time is recorded. Okay. So tractor and mixer are returned to the equipment shed. Right. So you know when you have the word equipment, it is actually the same as tools. So you know by now, okay, when you go through the text, okay, you cannot simply like copy and paste the information straight away, but you need to interpret the information. So if you go to the last line over here, tractor and mixer are returned to the equipment shed. So we know by now, okay, two of the most important tools are stated here. Okay, because equipment, the same meaning of equipment is tools. Okay, so the two important tools are the tractor and the mixer. And we know by now the name of the mixer is TMR mixer. Okay, all right. So therefore, the two tools will be TMR mixer and tractor. Okay, TMR mixer and tractor. And then we have the word feeder notebook. Feeder notebook appeared many times. Okay, all right. So it appeared several times. Okay, in the text over here. All right, it appeared several times in the text here. And we know by now that feeder notebook is also important. Okay, all right. It is also important. So feeder notebook will be the other tool that you need for this procedure. Right. And then when you go back to the text, okay, you have bin number 1 here, bin number 2 here. Okay, bunker number 1 is similar to bin number 1 actually. Okay, and bunker number 2 is also similar to bin number 2. So since that you have more than one bins being stated, meaning that you are going to have the concentrated protein from bin number 1 added, okay, and then IBS and such. So you know by now there are more than one bin involved. So it is going to be bins. Okay, right. So when it comes to the assessment, okay, just to let you know, because you asked about scope, okay, okay, all right. So it is stated here, all right, that you need to scoop the feed refusals into the TMR mixer, okay, and also over here, the feed refusals need to be swept to the end of the feed bank, okay. It is not really important, right? Because it is just like a process, okay? But you still need to have the tools, of course, okay? So if you have the tools stated in the answer, okay, even though it is not in the answer scheme, right, it will still be accepted. But you need to have the four, okay, let's say, for example here, the four main tools stated in the process. TMR mixer, the tractor, the bins, and the feeder notebook. Okay, so later on, when you sit for assessment 2A, reading SOP, so look for the main tools first. Okay, the additional tools, for example here, the broom, okay, for sweeping process, and also the scoop, okay, it will not affect the marks if you don't have it there. Am I clear?
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So you cannot simply read it just like that and then you transfer the information, but you need to read and digest the information first, okay? All right, so please go through it carefully with your partner regarding the text, then you will get the answers. Okay, so done about this part. Okay, research manuals as well. Okay, research manuals, where do we get the information from? Okay, your reference materials, okay, it is from the first paragraph here. Your reference materials are from the research manuals from your department. So it is clearly stated there that the research manuals will be your reference materials. But just to let you know, for your assessment to a reading SOP next week, you need to find the information, the additional information regarding the process and procedure from two other sources. So it can be taken from the internet. Okay? So it is not only, for example, here research manuals, maybe it is going to be from other manuals in the internet. Okay? So when it comes to the reference materials here, right? For example, I am not sure how does it look like for the word feed pump. Okay, so I'm going to type it here. Okay, all right, go to Google, type it, the word feed pump, and I click on the images, the tools on images here, and then maybe I'm going to take this image. Okay, so this is the image of feed pumps. Right, so I click visit so that I can get the link of the information. Okay, so I'm going to copy this link. Okay, under reference materials here. Right, I'm going to paste the link and you need to, of course, write it according to APA 7-star edition. So you cannot simply just copy and paste the link, but you have to write it back according to APA 7 style edition. So this is similar like what you have done for your first assessment. Okay, so let's say you have taken the picture of the feed bank from other sources. So at least, okay, at least 2 resources. I mean, okay, for assessment 2A reading SOP, it can be more, all right? So let's say you take the picture of the feed bank from this website. So you're going to write it in the reference materials and you put the link and write it according to APA 7 style edition. So you cannot simply just put the link here, but you have to write it back according to APA 7 style edition. Right. Is it okay, class?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. So when you go back to the reading text, okay, the beginning of the reading text over here, so we know that there are 4 steps involved in feeding the lactating cows. Okay, so the answers over here will be on the procedure, but this is not in the form of graphic SOP. I'll show it to you how you are supposed to arrange the information afterwards, okay? Right, so we have step number 1, step number 2, step number 3, and step number 4. And if you notice, okay, for each of the steps over here, okay, for example, prepare feed bunk, you have like several procedures under it. Okay, the same goes for step number 2, load mixer. There are these procedures. Okay, all right. So after this, okay, I'm going to show to you the graphic SOP. I'm going to go for the example on step number 1, prepare feed bunk, and the procedure will be sweep the feed refusals to the end of the feed bunk. Okay, all right. And I'm going to show you another example on load mixer, but the procedure will be number 2 over here. Add protein concentrate from bin number 1 and record IBS in the feeder notebook. Okay, so I show it to you how you are going to do it in graphic SOP form. Okay, so just to let you know, I'm going to use this example, step number 1, and the procedure is sweep the feed refusals to the end of the feed bunk, and then I'm going to show step number 2, load mixer, and the procedure will be add protein concentrate from bin number 1 and record IBS in the feeder notebook. Okay, so I will show it to you afterwards. Before that, let's go to the last part of the SOP, which is prepared by, and the name is senior assistant. So we go back to the text. You are the senior assistant. So it is supposed to be your signature, your full name, and your job designation is senior assistant. Okay? Alright, so this is supposed to be your name and your job designation. Okay, or job title. Reviewed by, okay, it's supposed to be the manager. So what is the name of the manager here again? Chong Kong Meng, and he is the manager. So there is a typo error there in the answer. So it is supposed to be Chong Kong Meng. Okay, and then approved by, we go to the last part of the text. Okay, so Mr. Chong Kong Meng will be sending the document to Mr. Bhaskaran Raj, your Deputy Director, for endorsement, meaning that approval. So, Bhaskaran Raj, Deputy Director. So this is how you're supposed to arrange the information. Any questions so far, class?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. So if you don't have any question, I'm going to switch the screen to my other device over here. Okay, give me a moment. All right, I am switching to my other device over here. Okay, all right. So we know by now that for the procedure, okay, there are 4 steps involved. Okay, all right. So it is SOP, okay, for feeding lactating cows. Okay, and when you are talking about graphic SOP, okay, this is graphic SOP. Okay, when you're talking about graphic SOP, it is supposed to be arranged from left to the right. Okay, it's supposed to be arranged from left to the right. So we know there are 4 steps involved. So step number 1, prepare feed bunk. Step number 2, load mixer. Step number 3, mix, fit. And step number 4, distribute, fit. Okay, so there are 4 steps altogether, right? And of course, for each of the step, you are going to have the boxes. Okay, if you have watched the video whereby I have given you the lecture on how to have the graphic operating procedure last week, so you will know that we are going to have this kind of appearance. Okay, you're going to have this kind of appearance. All right. Okay, let me put it over here so that you can see it clearly. Okay. All right. So we have prepare fit bunk. Step number 2, load mixer. Step number 4, distribute. So I'm going to show example on step number 1 and step number 2. Prepare. The 3 and the 3 bunk.
Yes, sir.
Abang macam mana ni? Question?
Sir.
Can you listen to me? Can you listen to me?
Yo.
Yes, sir. I think your connection is poor.
Hi. Can you listen to me? Okay, never mind. I'll stop sharing my screen first. Okay. Can you listen to me?
Putus-putus
Can
sikit,
you listen
sir.
to me? Ayo, what's going on? All right. Okay, never mind. All right. Because this session is recorded so that you can watch the video later if you couldn't listen to me clearly. But I'm going to share my screen again. Hopefully, this time it works. Okay. All right. So we have the first step over here. And then this is going to be the first procedure for the first step. Okay. I'm going to write the second procedure over here. This is actually the second procedure for load mixer. Okay. Add protein concentrate from bin number 1 and record IBS in the feeder notebook. Okay, all right. So I'm talking about the first step over here, prepare feed bunk. And this is the first procedure, sweep the feed refusals to the end of the feed bunk. And also I'm going to show you the example on load mixer, step number 2. This is procedure number 2, add protein concentrate from bin number 1 and record IBS in the feeder notebook. So how are you going to make it a graphic SOP? Okay, before that, for each of the boxes here, okay, you can draw this particular shape so that you are showing the readers that you are moving from left to the right. Okay, so this is going to be last stage. Okay, so this is the last step. All right. Okay, sweep the feed refusals to the end of the feed bunk. So I'm not good at drawing, but I'll try to. Okay, so this is the picture of the room. Okay, the sweep. right? Okay, let's say this is the picture of the room or the suite, and then you have the feed bunk. So you know how does it look like, the feed bunk? Okay, so you can maybe like put an arrow here, for example. Okay, so meaning that for each of the procedure in the assessment later on, okay, under graphic SOP, you are required to find images or graphics that support the procedure. So now we have the word sweep, okay, and therefore we have the picture of broom, okay, and then you need to sweep the feed refusals to the end of the feed bunk. So this is the feed bunk, okay, and then you have the arrow over here. Perhaps, okay, I can make it bigger. Okay, I can make it bigger. All right, so you need to sweep it towards the end of the feed bunk. Okay, so you need to find graphics or images for each of the procedure. Okay, let's say step number 2 here, load mixer. Okay, all right, so step number 2, load mixer. You need to add protein concentrate from bin number 1 and record IBS in the feeder notebook. Okay, so let's say this is bin number 1. So this is bin 1. All right, okay, and then you need to add, okay, you need to add protein concentrate. Okay, and then you record IBS, okay, in the feeder notebook. So let's say this is the notebook. Okay, and then this is how you can prepare it. Okay, for your information, the one that I am sharing with you is just a drawing. So in your context, for assessment 2A, you can find the pictures from the internet. Okay, you can use it from the internet, but of course, since that it is not yours, you need to state where you have taken the information from. Okay, but let's say if you couldn't find the image or the graphics that explain about the procedure, so what you can do is that perhaps if you're good at drawing, you can draw the pictures or the graphics or the images. Okay, class, can you listen to my voice now?
Oh, no, clear.
Okay, all right. So first thing, you find the graphics or the images from the internet first. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Okay, we are going to look back at this particular device. Okay, I'm going to switch back to my screen over here. Okay, so you know by now one of the answers. Okay, the first step is prepare feed bunk. So sweep the feed refusals to the end of the feed bunk. So you don't know how does it look like. Okay, for the word feed bunk. So since that you have Google it, okay, so this is the picture of the feed bunk. So you can right click on this image, click copy, and then you put it down here. So just Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V, perhaps, okay? And this is too big, right? So you can, or you need to make it smaller. Just make it smaller. Okay, maybe like this, so that I can see the picture or the image. Okay, so for your next assessment, assessment 2A, this is how you are going to write it. Okay, prepare it. Since that the image is not yours, you have taken it from somewhere else. So in the reference materials here, all right, you need to put the link where you have gotten the information from. Okay, so you need to find at least from 2 other sources, but you can have more than 2. Okay, at least 2 for the assessment because it is stated in the requirement, but you can have more than 2 references, okay, or resources to help you to prepare the SOP. And this is how you are going to do it. Okay, is it clear, class?
Yes, sir.
Right. Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Okay, so if you don't have question, so now we are going to discuss about your assessment in detail. Alright, so now I am sharing my screen over here. So we are going to talk about assessment 2A first. Okay, so assessment 2A, it is going to be number 1, pair work or individually. Okay, right, since that there are 22 of you, okay, so 22 of you equals to 11 pairs. Okay, all right, and then this is going to be conducted in week 9, second meeting. Okay, so next week in the second meeting, we are going to meet physically for assessment 2B first, okay, which is listening. Okay, I will give you information on what you're going to do for assessment 2B. And then after we have completed assessment 2B next week, which is on Thursday, guys, are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. So next week on Thursday, okay, we are going to meet and discuss or sit for assessment 2B first, which is listening SOP. It's going to be only 1 hour. After we have done that, okay, I'm going to give you the short briefing regarding assessment 2A. Okay, so assessment 2A, it is going to be from week 9, second meeting, okay, so it is going to be on the next week, 9, okay, it's going to be on the 16th of December 2021 until the Sunday, okay, 19 December 2021. So you and your partner, okay, you have like roughly 4 days to work for this SOP. Okay, it is not very difficult actually. Okay, it is not very difficult, but you have to transfer the information correctly. So the template will be given to you as well. So you just need to go through the text carefully and then you have to transfer the information correctly. Okay, all right. And then we are going to provide you, all right, with the answer sheet. So answer sheet will be given. Okay, and then refer to at least 2 resources. Okay, so you can have more than 2. Okay, it is going to be graphic SOP. Take note about that. Okay, and it is going to be submitted in Google Classroom. 1 submission per pair. Okay? Any question, class?
No, sir.
Okay? All right. Okay. So it is similar like what I have showed you, feeding lactating cows. So that is how you are supposed to prepare the material. Okay, so I mean the template will be the same, except for the procedure. You are going to transfer it into this form. Okay, so when it comes to the procedure, you're going to make it into graphic SOP like this one, the one that I'm sharing with you now. Okay. The rest of the information, you need to arrange it like the one that we discussed before this, except only for the procedure, you have to follow this. Okay. All right. And then it is going to be next week. Will be conducted next week in the second meeting. Okay, meaning that on the 16th of December, after you have sit for your assessment 2B, listening SOP, then we are going to discuss or have the briefing about assessment 2A, and your submission, okay, in Google Classroom should be on the 19th of December 2021, okay, by 19 December. Make sure that it is only submitted by 19 December in Google Classroom. Only one submission per pair. Okay, so that is about assessment 2A or reading SOP. Okay, question? Any question?
No, sir.
Nope. Okay, all right. Then now we are going to discuss about assessment 2B. Okay, let us discuss about assessment 2B. So assessment 2B, it is going to be listening SOP, all right? Okay, and it is going to be 40 minutes. Okay, all right? And then there will be 3 parts involved, A, B, and C. Okay, part A, part B, and part C. Part A, you are going to have 10 questions. Part B, you are going to have 5 questions. And part C, you are also going to have 5 questions. Okay, all right. So 10 questions over here, it is going to be MCQ or multiple choice questions. So A, B, okay, let me make it better for you. Okay, so it's going to be A or B or C or D. So you need to choose which one is going to be the best answer. So let's say if your answer is D, then you're going to take D or pick D. Okay. For part B, 5 questions, it is also going to be MCQ, but the options are limited to only A, B, and C. So let's say if your answer is A, then you're going to pick A. For part C, it is going to be true or false. Okay, right. So this is what you are going to have for your assessment to be listening. Okay, right. So the recording will be played twice. So when you listen to the recording for the first time, okay, of course, before that, I will give you enough time to go through the questions. Okay, you can look at the questions and the answers. Okay, and then when you listen to the recording for the first time, okay, maybe you can give your answers, okay, straight away. All right, so just pick your answers when you listen to it carefully. Okay, when you are listening to the recording for the second time, okay, so you can check whether you got the correct answers or not. Okay, all right. For assessment 2B, the total marks will be 20, okay, or it is equivalent to, let me check, 10% of your overall marks. This is for assessment 2B. Okay, for assessment 2A, okay, for assessment 2A, all right, it is going to be 40 marks or equivalent to 15% of your overall marks. Okay, class? Right. So about listening, what else should I tell you? Okay. All right. So the questions, okay, this is one of the possibility that it is going to be conducted. Okay, how it is going to be conducted. So next week on Thursday, okay, all of you are going to come to the class physically. Okay, physical test, but we are going to use Google Form. So it means that, okay, next week, all of you are required to bring your devices. Make sure that your devices are connected to the internet. You can use the Wi-Fi if it is okay, or you can use your own data. Okay, all right. So it means that, right, you need to bring either, okay, either, or you can bring all the three items over here. You can bring your own laptop or tablet or the smartphone. Or you can bring all three of these. Okay, so you can bring either the laptop or the tablet or the smartphone, or you can bring all three of the devices. So on the day itself, okay, I will give you the link in the class. Okay, it's either the QR code or the link. Then you can scan on the QR code or you can click on the link. Okay, and you can start answering assessment 2B first, which is on listening SOP. Okay, so it's going to be only 40 minutes. All right, the link or the QR code will bring you to the Google form here. Okay, and then you can listen to the recording or you go through the questions first for the first time. Of course, you need to fill in your information and such. Then after that, you can go through the questions and such. Then after that, okay, you will listen to the recording twice and you are going to state your answers. Okay, just pick for part A, 10 questions, okay, either A, B, C, or D. Okay, for part B, 5 questions, okay, either A, B, or C. And for part C, the remaining 5 questions, whether it is true or false. Okay, that is going to be for assessment 2B. Right, after that 40 minutes, okay, we're going to take a short break and then maybe like 1 or 2 minutes. Then I'm going to give you the briefing for your assessment 2A over here. Okay, so assessment 2A, it is a take-home test. Okay, take-home assessment. You and your partner, okay, you're going to work about it during your free time, okay, within 16 December, all right, within 16 December up until 19 December 2021. Okay, class?
Okay, sir.
All right. Any question?
For now, I don't have questions, sir.
All right. How about the others? Do you have any question?
No, sir.
Okay. All right. So if you don't have any other question, you don't have to worry, okay? Because for assessment 2A, it is very straightforward. Assessment 2B is a bit tricky, and you can do the exercises again. Okay, the CEFR exercises in Kalam, the link, if you're not satisfied with the answers. But basically, the kind of questions that you're going to have is about the same. Okay, so options are given A, B, C, or D for part A, or A, B, C for part B, and then true or false for part C, and then you need to choose which one is going to be the correct answer. Okay, so for the listening test, of course, you can use a piece of paper to jot down your notes while you are listening to the recording for the first time. Okay, and then you can mark your answers after that straight away. Okay, so you have to work interchangeably between the device and also jotting down the notes. Right? So if you don't have any other question regarding the assessments, okay, I'm going to stop the recording now. I believe that is all